Hello there, and welcome back to the Sleepy Star Wars channel. I'm so glad you've drifted here tonight to this quiet corner of the galaxy where the stars shimmer softly and the stories of the Force unfold like gentle tides. Perhaps your day has been long, or loud, or full of motion, but here, all of that begins to fall away. Here, your breath slows, your thoughts loosen, and you float like a calm ship gliding through hyperspace, wrapped in stillness. Tonight, we turn our attention to a Jedi unlike any other. A quiet rebel, a seeker of truth, a gentle sage who walked through the galaxy with the patience of starlight. Tonight, we fall asleep to Qui-Gon Jinn, the Philosopher Jedi. Qui-Gon was a master who listened deeply, not just to the words of others, but to the currents beneath them. He believed in the living force, in the beauty of each moment, in the idea that peace doesn't come from rules or rank or fear, but from presence, compassion, and trust in the path the Force whispers beneath our feet. As we wander through 100 sleepy facts about his life, his teachings, and his profound serenity, let the story guide you gently, like a desert breeze drifting across the dunes of Tatooine, or the soft hum of a lightsaber echoed through the quiet halls of the Jedi Temple. There is nothing left for you to do now, nothing to solve, nothing to chase, nothing to hold. Just allow yourself to rest, wrapped in the warm glow of the galaxy far, far away. Close your eyes, breathe softly, and let Qui-Gon's wisdom ease your mind as you drift deeper into the Force. 1. The Whisper of a Maverick Jedi. In the vast tapestry of the Jedi Order, where tradition flowed like a great river, Qui-Gon Jinn moved like a gentle current of his own. He was known as a maverick, yes, but not in defiance and never in anger. Instead, he walked with quiet conviction. Guided by truths he sensed deep within the living force. He listened to moments others hurried past, trusting the subtle hum that connected life in all its shapes and shadows. To be near Qui-Gon was to feel a calm certainty that the Force was speaking, softly but clearly, and he alone was patient enough to hear it. And in that patience, another story begins to stir. 2. A student of living force philosophy. Long before he became a master, Qui-Gon discovered a path few Jedi followed closely. A philosophy centered not on distant prophecies or cosmic destinies, but on the heartbeat of the present moment. To him, the living force was not an idea to be studied, but a breath to be felt. He would pause during missions simply to listen to the wind through alien trees, or the quiet pulse of life in bustling cities. This sensitivity guided his choices, allowing him to act with clarity when others hesitated. In the living force, he found a serenity that anchored him in every trial, every whisper, every step. And from that serenity, a deeper journey awakens. 3. Born beneath the stars of Coruscant. Though many imagine him meditating in forests or wandering sunlit deserts, Qui-Gon Jinn began his life on Coruscant, the gleaming world of spires and sky lanes. Even there, surrounded by Durasteel horizons and endless motion, he sensed the living heartbeat beneath the city's surface. As a child, he often gazed upward, watching ships rise like fireflies into the night sky. Those early moments shaped his quiet wonder, teaching him that even the busiest worlds hold a gentle silence if one only listens deeply enough. Coruscant may have been the Republic's center of power, but for Qui-Gon, it was simply the first place he learned to feel the Force's embrace. And from that first embrace, the path of a Jedi continues to unfold. 4. A youngling, drawn to quiet truths. Even as a youngling within the Jedi Temple's towering halls, Qui-Gon Jinn showed a rare sensitivity to the softer threads of the Force. While other initiates focused on forms and discipline, he often lingered in meditation rooms long after lessons ended, listening for something deeper, a truth felt rather than taught. Teachers noticed the way he paused before answering, as though allowing the Force itself to speak first. He was never the loudest or the quickest, but always the most present, his calm drawing others toward stillness. In those early years, he began forming the gentle philosophy that would guide his entire life. And from those quiet beginnings, a thoughtful student rises. 5. Trained under Jedi Master, Dooku Qui-Gon's path shifted profoundly when he became the Padawan of Count Dooku, a Jedi Master celebrated for precision, intellect, and formidable power. Dooku's teachings were sharp and elegant, shaped by a deep respect for tradition. Qui-Gon admired this strength, but questioned the rigidity beneath it, sensing that wisdom flowed best when allowed to move freely. Their bond was layered, respect intertwined with philosophical friction, much like two stars orbiting in careful balance. Through Dooku, Qui-Gon learned discipline. Through Qui-Gon, Dooku glimpsed the possibility of another way, though he did not follow it. And from that complex mentorship, a new mindset quietly forms. 6. The seeds of independent thought. Over time, Qui-Gon began to trust the gentle pull of intuition, more than the strict certainty offered by doctrine. He saw how rules could protect, but also how they could blind. Moments in training, small disagreements, questions left unanswered, feelings others dismissed, began nurturing within him a quiet independence. He learned that true wisdom bloomed not from obedience alone, but from listening deeply to the Force as it flowed through every living thing. These early realizations shaped the man he would become, a Jedi willing to walk alone if the path demanded it, guided not by pride, but by clarity. And from this clarity, the spirit of a philosopher begins to shine. 7. The living Force versus the cosmic Force. As Qui-Gon matured, he came to sense two great currents flowing through existence: the cosmic Force, stretching across time and destiny, and the living Force, present in every breath of life. Many Jedi focused on the grand sweep of prophecy and the galaxy's long arc, but Qui-Gon felt drawn to the immediacy of now, to the way the Force shimmered around a single moment. A falling leaf, a frightened child, a distant tremor in a crowded street, all held meaning for him. By honoring what was directly before him, he believed destiny itself would find balance. And through that balance, a new understanding quietly unfolds. 8. A knight who walked his own path. When Qui-Gon became a Jedi Knight, he stepped fully into the independence the Force had long whispered to him. He did not rebel for the sake of rebellion, nor disagree for the sake of pride. Instead, he moved at a gentler rhythm, unhurried, intuitive, and deeply attuned to what felt true. Fellow Jedi learned to expect the unexpected. Qui-Gon might change course mid-mission if the Force nudged him differently, or pause to help someone others had overlooked. To walk with him was to accept that certainty was fleeting and insight could rise from the smallest spark. And from that willingness to adapt, the Jedi Order gained a quiet, steady light. 9. Harmony over doctrine. Though he respected the Jedi Code, Qui-Gon believed peace came not from strict adherence, but from inner alignment. Rules, he felt, were guides, not cages. He encouraged younger Jedi to feel the Force within themselves, rather than rely solely on the structure of tradition. This perspective often puzzled the Council, but Qui-Gon never pushed his ideas with force. He simply lived them. Wherever he went, harmony followed. Between warring families, anxious diplomats, or troubled Padawans, his presence reminded others that peace was something cultivated inside, moment by moment, breath by breath. And from that quiet harmony, another truth begins to awaken. 10. Tales from the Archives. Though Qui-Gon often trusted intuition above all, he held a deep reverence for the ancient Jedi archives. He would wander the great marble halls in quiet hours, fingertips brushing the warm glow of holocrons, listening to voices long vanished into the Force. What fascinated him most were not the rigid doctrines, but the forgotten teachings, the gentle philosophies, the meditations on life, the reflections of Jedi who had once walked softer paths. He approached these histories not as laws, but as whispers, reminders that wisdom was fluid across generations. In those hushed chambers, he felt the Force breathing through time itself, and from that timeless breath, another journey slowly unfurls. 11. Mission to Telos. One of Qui-Gon's early missions as a Jedi Knight took him to the world of Telos, a place recovering from deep political wounds. The planet's struggles brought lessons that shaped him: the fragility of leadership, the weight of decisions made in fear, and the quiet suffering of everyday people who lived in the aftermath. Qui-Gon moved through the turmoil with patient grace, listening more than he spoke. He saw that healing required more than negotiations. It required presence, empathy, and a willingness to understand the pain beneath the surface. Telos broadened his sense of compassion, reminding him that every world held its own quiet shadows. And from those shadows, compassion deepened like dusk. 12. The joy of teaching. Even before taking an apprentice, Qui-Gon loved guiding young minds within the temple. He was the kind of instructor who knelt beside students rather than towering above them, who asked questions instead of giving orders. His lessons were gentle: how to feel the Force in a drifting leaf, how to listen to a room before stepping into it, how to let instinct lead the way. Younglings gravitated toward his warmth, sensing his genuine care. His laughter, rare but soft, eased their worries. Teaching, for Qui-Gon, was an act of love, a chance to nurture wisdom rather than impose it. And from that nurturing spirit, a master begins to emerge. 13. A master with an open hand. When Qui-Gon finally accepted the rank of Jedi Master, he did so with the humility of someone who never sought titles. His approach to leadership was gentle, never grasping, never controlling. He believed a teacher's role was to hold space, not to shape students into rigid forms. Those who trained under him said his guidance felt like an open hand, supportive, steady, but never constricting. He allowed his learners to grow in their own directions, trusting that the Force shaped each soul uniquely. To follow Qui-Gon was to feel both free and deeply grounded, as though the galaxy itself welcomed your steps. And from that open-handed wisdom, a bond soon begins to form. 14. Choosing Obi-Wan. The day Qui-Gon chose Obi-Wan Kenobi as his Padawan was not marked by ceremony, but by a quiet recognition. A moment where the Force seemed to settle between them like falling light. Obi-Wan was disciplined, precise, and devoted to tradition. Qui-Gon was intuitive, expansive, and guided by the present. Their differences shaped them beautifully. Qui-Gon sensed potential in Obi-Wan's earnest determination, while Obi-Wan found comfort in Qui-Gon's steady calm. Their partnership formed not through identical views, but through mutual respect, a reminder that harmony often thrives in contrast. And from that first shared step, a lifelong journey begins to unfold. 15. Lessons in letting go. One of the earliest teachings Qui-Gon offered Obi-Wan was the art of allowing. He taught that the Force could not be controlled, only trusted, that clinging to outcomes clouded the senses, while releasing them invited clarity. During meditations, Qui-Gon would guide Obi-Wan to feel the air move, to sense thoughts drifting like clouds, to understand that emotions need not be fought, only witnessed. These gentle lessons softened Obi-Wan's rigidity, helping him find balance between structure and intuition. Qui-Gon believed that letting go was not weakness, but freedom, the opening through which the Force could truly speak. And through that lesson, the Padawan's heart begins to open. 16. The gift of mindfulness. Qui-Gon believed that a Jedi's greatest strength was not found in their lightsaber, but in their awareness. To Obi-Wan, he taught the gentle art of mindfulness, the practice of returning again and again to the simplicity of the present moment. During long journeys, he would pause to notice the shift of air in a starship corridor or the faint vibrations of hyperspace humming through the walls. He encouraged Obi-Wan to sense the small wonders others overlooked, reminding him that the Force lived most vividly in these tiny details. Through quiet repetition, Qui-Gon helped his apprentice discover stillness as a companion, not a challenge. And from that stillness, deeper clarity begins to bloom. 17. Trials of trust. Like all Jedi Master-Padawan bonds, theirs was not without friction. Obi-Wan often struggled with Qui-Gon's tendency to follow instinct over orders, feeling torn between loyalty to the Council and loyalty to his master. But Qui-Gon welcomed disagreement as a natural part of growth. He trusted Obi-Wan enough to let him question, and trusted the Force enough to let their conflict teach them both. On dangerous missions, when choices needed to be made swiftly, Obi-Wan learned to lean into Qui-Gon's intuition, recognizing the quiet accuracy behind it. These trials forged a partnership built not on blind obedience, but on mutual respect and shared courage. And from that trust, their bond becomes unbreakable. 18. A teacher who encouraged curiosity. Where some masters prize strict obedience, Qui-Gon cherished curiosity. He saw questions as gateways to deeper truth, and he often posed riddles rather than commands. "What do you feel in the Force?" he would ask. "What does the moment tell you?" Under his guidance, Obi-Wan learned to search inward before looking outward, to follow wonder rather than fear. Qui-Gon believed curiosity kept the heart open to people, to possibility, to the unpredictable flow of the living Force. And because of this, his students never felt small or silenced. They felt invited into the great mystery. And from that invitation, new pathways of wisdom quietly form. 19. The quiet confidence of a Jedi Master. Qui-Gon carried a calm confidence that never needed to be announced. In negotiations, he spoke gently, yet with a firmness born from deep clarity. In conflict, he moved with precision, every step and breath guided by the Force's subtle pull. Those who encountered him often felt a strange comfort, as though he saw not only the situation before him, but the truth beneath it. He never rushed, never pushed, never yielded to fear. His confidence was not prideful. It was serene, rooted in the quiet certainty that the Force flowed through all things. And from that serene certainty, another layer of his wisdom begins to unfold. 20. The way of listening. More than anything, Qui-Gon listened. He listened to words, yes, but also to silences, to the tremble in a voice, the shift of a breeze, the movement of life in every corner of a room. When others hurried to speak, he paused, letting the Force reveal what lay beneath the surface. This patience made him a remarkable negotiator, for people felt truly seen in his presence. Even strangers sensed that he was not merely waiting for his turn to speak. He was hearing them with his whole being. To Qui-Gon, listening was a form of compassion, a way of honoring the living force within another. And from that deep listening, compassion begins to flow outward. 21. A Jedi guided by compassion. At the heart of Qui-Gon's every action was compassion. He saw the suffering of individuals as clearly as the struggles of entire worlds, and he never treated one as less important than the other. Whether comforting a frightened child or easing tensions between rival leaders, he acted with a tenderness that grounded even the most chaotic situations. Compassion, to him, was not a distraction from Jedi duty. It was the essence of it. He believed the Force called each Jedi to care deeply, to serve life in all its forms without hesitation. This gentle empathy shaped every mission he touched, softening the galaxy in ways few ever saw. And from that gentle empathy, another story quietly awakens. 22. Rescuing those in need. Throughout his journeys, Qui-Gon often diverted from official paths to help those who had slipped between the cracks of galactic concern. A stranded family on a trade route, an isolated farmer fearing raiders, a village caught in the shadows of corruption. None were too small for his attention. He believed that to serve the Force meant to serve life, no matter how insignificant others might deem it. These choices rarely made the report sent back to the Council, but they shaped quiet ripples of kindness across countless worlds. Wherever he traveled, hope seemed to follow, subtle and luminous. And from each act of kindness, the living Force glows a little brighter. 23. The path of non-attachment. Qui-Gon understood non-attachment not as distancing oneself from emotion, but as allowing each feeling to rise and fall like waves. He taught that a Jedi's heart could care deeply without clinging, love without fear, and grieve without losing balance. This gentle perspective set him apart from those who believed detachment meant shutting away the soul. Instead, he saw it as giving emotion space to move freely, unclouded by possession. This serene approach allowed him to remain steady even in moments of danger or loss. His calm was not coldness, it was acceptance, pure and open as starlight. And from that acceptance, peace settles softly like evening dew. 24. Refusal to bend to politics. In a galaxy shaped by councils, senates, and unseen agendas, Qui-Gon remained unshaken by political pressure. He respected the Republic, but refused to let its shifting tides steer his interpretation of the Force. When officials tried to sway him for their own gain, he responded with quiet firmness, making it clear that a Jedi's loyalty rested with truth, not convenience. This independence often put him at odds with those who valued diplomacy over integrity, but Qui-Gon never wavered. He believed that following the Force sometimes required standing alone, a solitary figure of calm amid swirling storms of influence. And from that steadfast stance, the philosopher's path grows even clearer. 25. Disagreements with the High Council. Qui-Gon's gentle independence often placed him at odds with the Jedi High Council. While he respected each master deeply, he did not believe consensus alone determined truth. When decisions felt misaligned with the living force, he voiced his concerns with quiet courage, unshaken by the weight of authority. These disagreements were never born of rebellion. They were born of sincerity, of a desire to remain faithful to the whisper of the Force above all else. Though the Council sometimes viewed him as difficult, they also recognized the purity behind his conviction. A reminder that wisdom sometimes requires divergence, and from those thoughtful disagreements, a more nuanced path begins to unfold. 26. A voice for the unheard. In crowded cities and forgotten settlements, Qui-Gon gravitated toward those whom society overlooked. He listened to refugees displaced by conflict, workers mistreated by powerful guilds, and children forced into lives without choice. His heart ached not in despair, but in determination, a quiet vow that he would stand with those who had no advocate. On missions, he often paused to speak with those others hurried past, finding truth in their stories and guidance in their fears. To Qui-Gon, every being, no matter how small or marginalized, carried a spark of the Force worthy of dignity. And from honoring those sparks, the galaxy felt a little more whole. 27. His bond with the natural world. Though he traveled from world to world, Qui-Gon always felt most at home in nature's embrace. Forests breathed in rhythm with him, deserts echoed his steady calm, and oceans whispered lessons carried by ancient tides. He sensed the Force in rustling leaves, in the pulse of a creature's heartbeat, in the silent growth of roots beneath soil. When missions grew heavy, he would wander into wild landscapes to reconnect with the pure, unshaped essence of life. Nature reminded him that the Force was not only a power, it was a symphony, ever-changing and ever-present. And from that symphony, another gentle truth begins to rise. 28. The comfort of silence. While many Jedi found solace in conversation or the hum of temple activity, Qui-Gon cherished the quiet places, the meditation alcoves lit by soft blue lamps, the empty training rooms at dusk, the balconies overlooking Coruscant's endless glow. Silence was not emptiness to him. It was a presence, a subtle companion that revealed truths hidden beneath noise. In stillness, he felt the living Force most clearly, like a gentle current brushing against his awareness. He would sit for long moments without speaking, allowing peace to settle around him, soft as falling dusk. And from that sacred quiet, deeper wisdom begins to stir. 29. His subtle humor. Though he often appeared serious, Qui-Gon carried a humor that surfaced softly, like a smile behind a closed door. His wit was dry, understated, and always warm, the kind that eased tension without ever belittling. Obi-Wan often found himself both bewildered and comforted by his master's unexpected remarks, moments of levity that glimmered like starlight in otherwise solemn missions. To travelers and strangers, Qui-Gon's calm exterior sometimes hid this gentle playfulness, but those who knew him well recognized it as part of his balance. Even in the gravest moments, he could offer a quiet line that reminded others to breathe. And from that gentle humor, the path ahead feels a little lighter. 30. The freedom of letting the Force lead. More than any Jedi of his time, Qui-Gon surrendered to the guidance of the Force with complete trust. He did not fear changing direction, abandoning plans, or stepping into the unknown if intuition called. To him, letting go of control was not chaos. It was harmony, a partnership with something infinitely wiser. Whether navigating diplomatic tensions or facing sudden danger, he moved with an ease born from this surrender, allowing the moment to unfold without resistance. His freedom came not from defiance, but from faith. The deep, unshakable belief that the Force would always reveal the next step when the heart was open. And from that openness, a new chapter gently begins. 31. Mission to Pijal. Qui-Gon's mission to the small moon of Pijal became a turning point in his journey. A place where politics, tradition, and morality wove into a difficult knot. Accompanied by his former fellow apprentice, Rael Averross, he found himself navigating a world on the brink of transformation. The Crown Princess faced forces beyond her control, and Qui-Gon sensed the delicate balance between protecting a leader and protecting her people. His decisions required patience, deep intuition, and a careful listening to emotions often buried beneath regal formality. Through Pijal's unfolding crisis, he learned how power, even well-intentioned, could cast subtle shadows. And from those shadows, a new layer of wisdom quietly emerged. 32. The Crisis of the Crown Princess. During the turmoil on Pijal, Qui-Gon's heart was drawn to the young princess, Fanry, whose destiny seemed shaped by forces far beyond her understanding. He approached her not as a political figure, but as a frightened child bearing a weight too heavy for her shoulders. Qui-Gon recognized that her anger and fear were signals of deeper injustice, not flaws to correct, but truths to uncover. As events escalated, he acted with compassion rather than judgment, guiding her through choices that would reshape her moon's future. In supporting her, he showed that even leaders deserve to be seen as people first. And from this gentle guidance, his reputation as a true guardian deepened. 33. Shadows of technology and control. Pijal also exposed Qui-Gon to the dangers of technology used not to uplift, but to restrain. He saw how innovation, when wielded without empathy, could become a quiet form of domination, control disguised as progress. The moon's reliance on automated governance troubled him deeply. Machines made decisions without understanding life, and Qui-Gon sensed the imbalance spreading through the people, like a soft tremor in the Force. This experience strengthened his belief that true wisdom could never be manufactured. It had to come from living beings, from consciousness, compassion, and the interconnectedness of all things. And from that realization, his path as a philosopher grew even clearer. 34. A master drawn to prophecy. Though Qui-Gon treasured the immediacy of the living Force, he was never blind to the deeper currents that rippled through time. Prophecy intrigued him, not as a rigid map, but as a whisper of possibilities. He approached ancient writings with humility, sensing that they were glimpses into the Force's vast tapestry rather than instructions carved in stone. While others dismissed old visions as relics of forgotten eras, Qui-Gon felt a quiet resonance in them, especially those that spoke of balance and destiny. He believed prophecy should guide reflection, not command action, a lantern, not a leash. And from that gentle fascination, a seed of destiny begins to glow. 35. The Lost Prophecies. Deep within the Jedi archives, Qui-Gon uncovered a collection of neglected writings known as the Lost Prophecies, verses others overlooked, their meanings tangled in metaphor and myth. As he studied them, he sensed a thread of truth woven into their poetic lines, something the Council had grown too rigid to perceive. One prophecy in particular stirred his spirit, the foretelling of one who would bring balance to the Force. Qui-Gon did not cling to it with certainty. Instead, he allowed it to sit within him like a single note resonating in a larger symphony. For him, prophecy was a whisper of possibility worth listening to, And from that whispered possibility, a destiny quietly unfolds. 36. Trusting visions. Others dismissed. Qui-Gon's intuition often led him to insights others found difficult to accept. When he felt the Force tug through visions or subtle impressions, he gave those moments the same weight he offered to logic. The Council, cautious of misinterpretation, preferred skepticism. But Qui-Gon believed that dismissing a vision out of fear could blind a Jedi to truth. He treated these glimpses not as commands, but as gentle warnings or invitations, like ripples across still water. His openness allowed him to sense dangers the Order overlooked, and opportunities hidden beneath layers of uncertainty. And from that openness to mystery, the path ahead becomes softly illuminated. 37. The Jedi who believed in destiny. While many Jedi approached destiny with caution, Qui-Gon viewed it as a quiet companionship. Not a fixed road, but a gentle guidance woven into the Force. He believed that each being had a purpose, shaped not by fate alone, but by the choices made along the way. To Qui-Gon, destiny was the meeting place between free will and the living Force, where possibilities shimmered like starlight waiting to be reached. He never forced the future. He simply sensed its currents and listened for their softest echoes. His faith in destiny did not make him rigid. It made him patient, open to whatever might unfold. And from that patient trust, the future breathes a little clearer. 38. The unseen. Threads of the Force. Qui-Gon often sensed disturbances before they surfaced, not through dramatic visions, but through subtle shifts in the living Force. A tremor in a crowd's mood, a chill in the air moments before conflict, a quiet dread beneath someone's smile. These small ripples guided him toward understanding. He described these impressions as threads, strands of energy that wove through every moment, tugging gently at his awareness. Most Jedi overlooked such faint signals, too busy with protocol or strategy, but Qui-Gon considered them vital. They were the murmurs of life itself, warning, guiding, and revealing truths hidden between heartbeats. And from those delicate threads, another truth begins to unveil itself. 39. A knight who forgave easily. Forgiveness came naturally to Qui-Gon, as effortlessly as breathing. He understood that anger clouded judgment, and that holding on to resentment dimmed one's connection to the Force. When others wronged him, whether through mistrust, disagreement, or impulsive choices, he responded with patience and compassion. He believed that most mistakes were born from fear or misunderstanding, not malice. His forgiveness did not ignore the truth. It illuminated it, offering a gentle path forward rather than a wall of blame. Those around him felt safe to be honest, knowing he would meet their imperfections with understanding rather than condemnation. And from that softness of heart, the galaxy feels just a bit lighter. 40. A heart untroubled by pride. Pride found no home in Qui-Gon Jinn. Though he was respected as a powerful Jedi Master, he never carried himself with the weight of superiority. Instead, he moved with a kind of humble grace, acknowledging that all beings, from farmers to senators, from droids to diplomats, held wisdom worth hearing. Success never inflated him. Mistakes never crushed him. He viewed every experience as a lesson offered by the Force, not a medal or a mark. This humility created a steady calm around him, as though he were anchored to something deeper than recognition. And from that grounded humility, a truer strength quietly begins to shine. 41. The invitation to the Council. There came a time when the Jedi High Council extended Qui-Gon an honor few ever received, an invitation to join their esteemed circle. Many would have accepted without hesitation, yet Qui-Gon felt the Force pulling him in another direction. He believed that a seat on the council might distance him from the immediacy of the living Force, from the quiet, wandering path he walked so naturally. With gentle respect, he declined, choosing service over status, intuition over authority. His decision surprised many, yet it revealed the depth of his dedication to what he believed the Force called him to be. And from that thoughtful refusal, his independent path grows even clearer. 42. The Council's frustration. Qui-Gon's steadfast devotion to his own interpretations of the Force often tested the patience of the Jedi Council. They admired his skill and compassion, yet struggled with his unwillingness to follow tradition when it conflicted with his intuition. Meetings grew tense at times, filled not with anger, but with quiet exasperation, a push and pull between order and insight. Still, even in disagreement, Qui-Gon remained respectful, never raising his voice, always grounded in calm certainty. The Council, in turn, recognized that his divergence came not from arrogance, but from sincerity. In this delicate dance, both sides learned, even if they rarely admitted it aloud. And from that fragile balance, another chapter of his journey softly unfolds. 43. A Jedi firm yet kind. Qui-Gon carried a strength that did not need sharpness to be felt. When he believed a path was right, he held to it with quiet resolve, never bending merely to appease authority or avoid discomfort. Yet his firmness was always wrapped in kindness. He did not force his views or belittle those who disagreed. Instead, he spoke gently, listened deeply, and trusted the Force to guide understanding. Those who encountered him felt both the immovable clarity of his convictions and the softness of his compassion. He proved that a Jedi could be steadfast without being harsh, principled without losing grace. And from that balanced strength, the essence of a true guardian emerges. 44. Master of negotiation. Across countless systems, Qui-Gon earned a reputation as one of the Order's finest negotiators, not because he dominated conversations, but because he illuminated them. He had a gift for sensing the emotions beneath each argument, understanding the fears behind stubborn words, or the hopes hidden beneath anger. He would let silence settle until tension eased, then offer insight that gently steered both sides toward peace. Even the most hardened officials found themselves softening in his presence, drawn to the sincerity in his calm gaze. With patience and empathy, Qui-Gon resolved conflicts that might have erupted into war. And from those peaceful resolutions, the Force's harmony shines more brightly. 45. Subtle Force techniques. While Qui-Gon was proficient in lightsaber combat, many considered his true skill to lie in his subtle use of the Force. He excelled at nudging emotions, revealing truths, and sensing hidden dangers long before they surfaced. His mind tricks were gentle rather than forceful, designed not to dominate, but to redirect harmful intentions. He preferred solutions that preserved dignity, using the Force as a whisper rather than a command. On missions, his sensitivity to shifts in energy often saved lives, detecting deceit, calming fear, or uncovering motives others overlooked. In Qui-Gon's hands, the Force became an instrument of compassion, and from those quiet techniques, deeper layers of his mastery begin to unfold. 46. The art of Jedi diplomacy. Qui-Gon practiced diplomacy not as a performance, but as an extension of presence. When he entered a room of feuding parties, He carried no air of superiority, only calm curiosity. He believed that listening was the foundation of peace, and so he allowed others to speak fully before offering his perspective. His words were measured, each one placed with patient intention, like stones forming a quiet path across troubled waters. Diplomacy, to Qui-Gon, was not about winning arguments, but revealing the common truth beneath them. Many who met him walked away feeling lighter, seen, and strangely hopeful. And from that gentle diplomacy, the promise of harmony grows. 47. His relationship with Yoda. Though their philosophies often differed, Qui-Gon and Yoda shared a deep mutual respect that stretched across decades. Yoda, rooted in ancient tradition, sometimes questioned Qui-Gon's willingness to break from long-held norms. Yet he admired the younger master's sincerity, the way Qui-Gon listened to the Force as if it were a close friend. Qui-Gon, in turn, valued Yoda's wisdom and his ability to see through the shifting fog of galactic unrest. Their discussions were quiet, contemplative exchanges where no voice was raised and no ego clung to dominance. They were two seekers on parallel paths, intersecting in moments of shared truth. And from that respectful tension, new understanding quietly grows. 48. Echoes of Dooku's influence. Though Qui-Gon had long forged his own way, the teachings of his former master Dooku lingered like faint echoes through his life. Dooku's emphasis on discipline and structure provided Qui-Gon with a foundation, something to gently question, refine, and evolve. In many ways, Qui-Gon became the bridge between tradition and intuition, embodying what Dooku might have been had he embraced openness instead of rigid control. Their bond was complicated, marked by affection, disagreement, and unspoken sorrow. Even as their paths diverged, Qui-Gon carried a quiet hope for his master's light, and from those lingering echoes, the story moves into deeper currents. 49. A bridge between traditions. Qui-Gon stood at an invisible crossroads within the Jedi Order, a gentle link between the structured philosophies of the past and the intuitive, present-centered understanding he believed the future required. He honored the wisdom of the old ways, but felt their rigidity growing like a quiet tension in the heart of the temple. Through his actions, he showed that tradition could breathe, could shift, could evolve without losing truth. He carried ancient teachings in one hand and living insight in the other, creating harmony rather than conflict. This balance made him a rare figure, both a guardian of heritage and a herald of new understanding. And from that delicate balance, the next chapter of fate begins to gather. 50. The rare calm of true conviction. Qui-Gon's conviction did not burn like fire. It glowed like warm embers, steady and unwavering. When he believed in a course of action, he did not argue or demand. He simply moved forward with quiet certainty, trusting the Force to affirm or correct his steps. His calm was contagious, settling those around him, encouraging them to breathe a little deeper, to see a little clearer. True conviction, he taught, was not stubbornness. It was clarity born from listening without fear. This serenity made him a stabilizing presence on every mission, a source of grounding even in the most turbulent storms. And from that steady glow, destiny draws closer on silent feet. 51. Bound for Naboo. When Qui-Gon accepted the mission to protect Queen Amidala and investigate the Trade Federation's blockade of Naboo, he sensed the Force shifting around him, subtle, like a breeze carrying the scent of distant rain. He approached the assignment with the same calm presence he brought to all things, unaware that this journey would mark the final arc of his life. As he stepped aboard the sleek starship bound for the mid-rim, he felt a quiet anticipation, a stirring in the living force, as though the galaxy were holding its breath. Something awaited him on this path, something vast, ancient, and transformative. And from that quiet anticipation, the story moves toward destiny's horizon. 52. The Trade Federation Blockade. As Qui-Gon stepped into the unfolding crisis around Naboo, he sensed the tension rippling through the Force long before blaster fire erupted. The blockade was more than a political dispute. It felt like a shadow spreading quietly across the Republic, subtle and cold. While others saw only trade disagreements, Qui-Gon felt a deeper discord, a fracture beneath the surface, as if something ancient and unseen stirred behind the conflict. He approached the situation not with fear, but with the steady awareness that change was gathering its breath. In the hum of distant battleships, he heard the Force whisper its warning. And from that whispered warning, a darker truth begins to emerge. 53. The Escape through the Battleship. When negotiations collapsed and danger ignited around them, Qui-Gon moved with the fluid calm of a Jedi fully attuned to the moment. Blaster bolts flashed like brief stars in metallic corridors, but he did not rush. He simply flowed, guiding Queen Amidala and her retinue through the chaos with the certainty of one who trusted the Force completely. Each turn, each leap, each deflection carried a kind of quiet grace, transforming what might have been panic into measured resolve. Even as alarms wailed and danger closed in, Qui-Gon's presence felt like a lighthouse in a storm. And from that guiding light, the journey bends toward fate. 54. The Meeting with Queen Amidala. From the moment Qui-Gon met Queen Amidala, he sensed the strength beneath her youthful calm, a steady courage that resonated like a soft chord in the Force. He treated her not merely as a political figure, but as an individual, carrying the heavy mantle of leadership long before her time. Qui-Gon offered guidance when needed, silence when appropriate, and respect always. He saw in her the same qualities he cherished in any being touched by the Force: resilience, compassion, and the will to do what was right despite the storm surrounding her. Their partnership was one of mutual trust, formed quietly in urgency. And from that quiet trust, the desert winds of destiny begin to rise. 55. A knight who trusted the Force. Completely. As the Queen's ship fled the blockade and slipped into the quiet stretch of space beyond Naboo, Qui-Gon felt the Force guiding him with unmistakable clarity. There were no visions, no booming revelations, only a gentle pull, like a warm current beneath cool water. He trusted it without hesitation. Whether navigating political tension or sudden crisis, Qui-Gon's faith in the Force was as natural as breathing. It steadied him, allowed him to see past fear and uncertainty, and offered direction where others saw only risk. Even in the vast silence between stars, he walked as though guided by an unseen hand. And from that unwavering trust, a meeting of fate draws near. 56. The desert world of Tatooine. When their damaged ship touched down on the sunlit sands of Tatooine, Qui-Gon felt the living Force stirring like a soft breeze across the dunes. The planet was harsh, dry, and unforgiving. Yet beneath the heat and dust, he sensed something ancient humming just out of reach. The twin suns painted long shadows as he walked, each step a meditation on presence. Tatooine was a place of beginnings and endings, a quiet cradle for stories yet to unfold. Qui-Gon listened to its silence, to the way the wind whispered along stone and bone, and he felt destiny curling gently toward him like a waking dream. And from that dreamlike feeling, a child's voice waits just ahead. 57. A chance encounter with Anakin Skywalker. Inside the cramped little shop of a jovial Toydarian, Qui-Gon first saw the boy who would change the galaxy. Anakin Skywalker stood small among broken droids and scattered parts, yet the Force surrounded him with a brightness Qui-Gon had rarely felt. It was not power alone, but potential, a warmth, a spark, a melody waiting to bloom into symphony. As the boy spoke, eager and unguarded, Qui-Gon sensed compassion in him, curiosity, and a hopeful innocence shaped by hardship. In that moment, something clicked into place, a feeling both gentle and profound, as though the Force itself leaned close and whispered. And from that whisper, destiny begins to unfold. 58. The moment he understood. As Qui-Gon watched Anakin speak, move, and simply be, a realization slowly surfaced within him. Gentle, yet as undeniable as the rising suns outside. The Force did not merely surround the boy. It sang through him, vibrant and bright, like a star pulsing beneath fragile skin. Every instinct pointed toward a truth larger than himself, larger than the Order, that this child stood at the crossroads of prophecy and possibility. Qui-Gon did not leap to conclusions. He simply listened, allowing the living Force to reveal its intention. And the more he listened, the clearer it became. And from that growing clarity, the path of the Chosen One begins to shimmer. 59. Compassion for a slave boy. What touched Qui-Gon most deeply was not Anakin's power, but his spirit. Despite a life of limitation, the boy was generous, hopeful, and protective of those he loved. Qui-Gon saw the weight of slavery etched behind his bright eyes, yet he also sensed a resilient kindness that hardship had failed to dim. He knelt before Anakin, not as a superior, but as an equal soul in the Force, speaking with a gentleness that made the boy feel seen rather than judged. In that dusty workshop, Qui-Gon felt compassion rise like a tide. Not pity, but a profound desire to free a young life bound by chains. And from that compassion, a quiet resolve begins to take shape. 60. A promise to free him. When Qui-Gon learned the truth of Anakin's enslavement, a soft determination settled over him, calm yet immovable. He did not rush or bargain recklessly. Instead, he let the Force guide each step, trusting it to open the door that destiny required. His promise to help the boy was not a vow of heroism, but an expression of faith. Faith in Anakin, in the living Force, and in the hope that every being deserved freedom to grow. The idea of leaving him behind felt like a dissonance in the Force, a wrong note in an unfolding melody. And so Qui-Gon committed himself quietly. He would find a way. And from that quiet commitment, the future leans ever closer. 61. The pod racing revelation. When Qui-Gon watched Anakin prepare for the Boonta Eve Classic, he felt the Force gathering around the boy like a quiet storm. Pod racing was a perilous dance of speed and instinct, something no ordinary human could endure. Yet Anakin stepped into the cockpit with natural grace, as though born to ride the trembling edge between life and danger. As engines roared and sand spiraled beneath twin suns, Qui-Gon sensed the boy's awareness stretching far beyond his small frame, touching the rhythm of the race itself. Each near fall, each recovery, confirmed what Qui-Gon felt in his bones. The Force moved through Anakin with rare harmony. And from that harmony, the truth shines even brighter. 62. Trust in the living Force. During their time on Tatooine, Qui-Gon relied on the living force as intimately as drawing breath. When he lacked resources, he trusted opportunity. When uncertainty clouded the horizon, he trusted insight. And when others questioned his choices, he trusted the quiet feeling inside that whispered of a greater purpose. Tatooine demanded patience. The heat, the waiting, the endless shifting sands. Yet Qui-Gon embraced it all as part of the moment he was meant to inhabit. This trust allowed him to act without fear, without frustration, without doubt. He let the Force shape each step, knowing it never guided without meaning. And from that deep trust, the next turn of fate approaches softly. 63. The weight of prophecy. As Qui-Gon reflected on Anakin's gifts, the ancient words of the lost prophecies stirred within him like embers catching new flame. He did not seek to force destiny into shape. Instead, he allowed the possibility to rest gently in his mind. What if this child, bright, hopeful, and impossibly attuned, was the one foretold to bring balance to the Force? The thought carried both hope and gravity, for such a destiny could reshape galaxies. Yet Qui-Gon felt no fear. He sensed a natural alignment, as if everything in the Force had been slowly guiding him toward this meeting. And from that quiet meditation, conviction begins to bloom. 64. The Council's reluctance. When Qui-Gon brought Anakin before the Jedi Council, the chamber felt thick with caution. The Masters sensed the boy's power, but also the shadows of fear woven through his young heart. A natural consequence of a life spent in chains. Qui-Gon stood calmly among them, not as a challenger, but as a guardian of truth. He spoke with quiet conviction, expressing what he had felt from the moment he met Anakin, that the Force's will lay intertwined with this child's fate. Though the Council hesitated, wary of uncertainty, Qui-Gon did not retreat. He simply stood in the light of what he believed, trusting the Force to unveil its purpose in time. And from that steadfast belief, destiny's threads tightened gently. 65. A master who would not yield. The Council's reservations did nothing to shake Qui-Gon's certainty. He did not press them with anger or frustration. Instead, he held his position with serene resolve, like a stone, shaped by the tide, yet unmoved by it. When they denied Anakin's training, Qui-Gon answered with the quiet truth in his heart. I will train him then. It was not defiance, but alignment, a willingness to follow the Force, even when it carried him down a solitary path. His determination came from compassion, not pride. He saw the boy's potential, his goodness, his need for guidance, and Qui-Gon could not abandon that calling. And from that gentle determination, the path forward becomes inevitable. 66. The duel on Tatooine. As they prepared to leave Tatooine, the desert wind carried a warning through the Force, sharp and sudden. When Darth Maul leapt from the humming sands, red blade burning against twin suns, Qui-Gon reacted with the fluid reflexes of a Jedi utterly attuned to the moment. Their clash was fierce yet strangely silent inside Qui-Gon's mind, each movement guided by instinct more than thought. He did not yet know who this dark warrior was, but he felt the shadow surrounding him, cold and ancient. The encounter left him winded, contemplative, and aware that something long dormant in the galaxy had awakened. And from that awakening, the horizon darkens with mystery. 67. Unseen darkness. Rising. After the clash with Darth Maul, Qui-Gon felt a subtle tremor in the Force that lingered like a fading echo. The Sith had been thought extinct for a millennium, yet the warrior's speed, presence, and malice carried an unmistakable signature. Qui-Gon did not leap to conclusions, but he sensed that the galaxy's quiet balance was shifting. something old and shadowed had stirred awake, watching from behind the veil of events. As their ship lifted from Tatooine sands, he felt the Force ripple, as though whispering of storms gathering far beyond the horizon. And from that quiet warning, the future grows heavier with meaning. 68. Preparing Obi-Wan for what came next. Even as danger thickened around them, Qui-Gon continued to teach Obi-Wan with his usual calm. On the journey back to Coruscant, he spoke gently about intuition, about trusting the moment, about letting fear pass through like a cloud drifting across a bright sky. He knew that the encounters ahead would test his apprentice in ways neither could predict. Qui-Gon's guidance was subtle, not lectures or commands, but soft reminders that the Force would steady them if they remained open. Obi-Wan listened with a mixture of concern and admiration, feeling the weight of Qui-Gon's insight. And from these quiet lessons, a wiser Jedi begins to emerge. 69. Stepping onto the soil of Naboo. Once more, when Qui-Gon returned to Naboo, the air felt different, heavier, as though the planet itself sensed the approaching conflict. Mist curled across the swamps, and distant battleship engines hummed like distant thunder. He paused for a moment upon landing, letting the living Force wash over him. The planet's fear, its hope, its tension, all swirled around him like currents converging before a great tide. Qui-Gon breathed deeply, grounding himself in stillness. He knew the next steps would shape more than the fate of a world. They would shape the future of the Jedi, the Republic, and the boy he had chosen to protect. And from that moment of quiet grounding, the path leads toward the inevitable. 70. The Duel of the Fates begins. As the palace halls of Naboo filled with echoing footsteps and distant blaster fire, Qui-Gon felt the Force narrow into a single sharpened moment. When Darth Maul revealed himself once more, igniting twin blades that hummed like a storm-given form, Qui-Gon stepped forward without hesitation. There was no fear in him, only clarity, a breath of stillness amid the rising chaos. This duel was not merely a battle of warriors. It was a meeting of destinies, light brushing against the first true shadow of a new era. With each step, Qui-Gon guided the moment with calm precision, and from that crossing of blades, the galaxy's path begins to tremble. 71. A warrior of tranquility. Though the fight surged with intensity, Qui-Gon's movements carried the softness of water flowing around stone. He did not strike in anger or desperation. He responded with the serene grace of a Jedi fully aligned with the living Force. Every parry, every shift of weight, every breath was a meditation in motion. His emerald blade shined like a forest glimmer beneath twin suns, answering Maul's ferocity with unwavering peace. Those who watched later would remember the quiet dignity in his posture, a reminder that even in danger, Qui-Gon sought harmony instead of domination. And from that tranquil strength, the rhythm of fate moves ever closer. 72. The pulse of combat. Within the duel's frenetic heart, Qui-Gon found a stillness deeper than silence. Time seemed to stretch and soften as he listened to the pulse of the Force guiding each instinct. He felt its currents dancing between himself, Maul, and Obi-Wan. Three threads woven together for a moment that would echo across generations. He sensed his apprentice's urgency, Maul's cold hunger, and his own unwavering resolve holding steady against the storm. Even as the battle surged across walkways and energy bridges, Qui-Gon moved with an inner calm, untouched by the fight's chaos. And from that calm center, the next turning point quietly approaches. 73. separated by the energy barriers. As Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul raced through the reactor complex, the shimmering energy doors fell between them like veils of fate. Where others might have paced with agitation, Qui-Gon simply knelt. He placed his saber beside him and sank into deep meditation, letting his breath fall into the slow, steady rhythm of the living force. The world around him faded into gentle silence. He felt Obi-Wan's anxious longing, Maul's simmering rage, and beneath it all, the guiding presence that had shaped his entire life. Those few quiet moments were a sanctuary, a final stillness before the storm, and from that serene pause, the next moment arrives like a held breath. 74. His final stand against Maul. When the barriers opened, Qui-Gon rose with renewed clarity. The duel resumed in a furious dance of sparks and shadow, Maul striking with relentless aggression. Qui-Gon answered with resilience born of experience and serenity, each movement purposeful, each step grounded. Though exhaustion tugged at him, his spirit did not waver. For a final stretch of heartbeats, the Force flowed through him like a steady river. Yet destiny, shaped by threads he could not fully see, drew its line. In a flash of crimson light, the battle reached its inevitable end. Qui-Gon fell not in fear, but in quiet acceptance. And from that acceptance, a final whisper of purpose takes form. 75. The silence after the strike. As Qui-Gon collapsed, the reactor's hum softened around him, as though the entire chamber bowed in quiet mourning. Pain flickered through him, but so did peace, the strange, luminous peace of a life lived in harmony with the Force. He felt the presence of Obi-Wan rushing toward him, felt the tremble of destiny threading through the moment. Yet his thoughts remained gentle. The galaxy swirled above him like distant stars, dimming softly at the edges. In that fading light, Qui-Gon sensed not an ending, but a threshold, a door into something deeper, something he had only begun to understand. And through that dimming light, his final message waits to be spoken. 76. Passing the torch to Obi-Wan. As Obi-Wan knelt at his side, Qui-Gon summoned the last of his fading strength. His voice trembled, not with fear, but with urgency wrapped in tenderness. He looked upon his Padawan, the student he had guided, challenged, and cherished, and entrusted him with the future he could no longer shape. "Train the boy," he whispered, placing all his remaining faith in Obi-Wan's hands. It was not a command, but a plea born from deep conviction. Qui-Gon believed Anakin's destiny was interwoven with the fate of the galaxy, and only Obi-Wan could carry that hope forward. And from that passing of responsibility, the path of two lives changes forever. 77. Qui-Gon's gentle farewell. As the warmth of life slowly slipped from his body, Qui-Gon felt neither regret nor fear. Instead, he felt gratitude for the journey he had walked, for the souls he had touched, and for the truths the Force had revealed to him. He sensed the sorrow in Obi-Wan's heart and wished he could soothe it one last time. But even in his final breaths, Qui-Gon trusted the living Force. He let go with the same grace he had carried throughout his life, releasing himself into the great current that binds all things. His final exhale was soft, almost peaceful, like a candle dimming in a gentle breeze. And from that final breath, a new form of existence begins to awaken. 78. The Jedi who listened. Beyond death, death did not silence Qui-Gon's spirit. Instead, it opened a doorway few Jedi had ever touched. His lifelong devotion to the living Force allowed him to retain consciousness beyond the veil, lingering like a calm whisper in the cosmic wind. Though he could not yet appear as others would one day, he learned to send echoes, soft impressions, gentle guidance, the faintest touch of presence to those attuned enough to feel it. Qui-Gon discovered that the Force did not end with death. It transformed, expanded, embraced. He stepped into this mystery with the same quiet curiosity he had shown in life. And from that mystery, a new chapter of the Jedi unfolds. 79. The first to learn immortality. Qui-Gon's journey beyond death was not an accident, but the culmination of a lifetime spent listening to the living Force. While other Jedi focused on mastery in the physical realm, Qui-Gon had always followed the deeper currents beneath all things. In the quiet of the netherworld, he continued that practice, learning to let his consciousness dissolve and take shape again without fear. Slowly, gently, he uncovered a secret long forgotten: the ability to maintain identity after death. It was not power he found, but presence, a way to serve, to guide, to love beyond the boundaries of life. And from that discovery, the future of the Jedi begins to transform. 80. A voice in the cosmic wind. In time, Qui-Gon learned to send whispers through the Force, delicate as wind chimes ringing across starlight. Yoda heard him first, a faint echo during meditation, a familiar warmth brushing against his mind. It startled the ancient master, for death had always meant silence. Yet Qui-Gon's voice carried peace, not fear, as though carried on a gentle breeze from a distant shore. There is another path, he seemed to say, inviting curiosity rather than alarm. These early messages reshaped everything the Jedi believed about passing into the Force. Qui-Gon remained patient, offering guidance only when needed, always softly. And from that soft guidance, a new hope begins to glow. 81. Teaching Yoda the secret of eternal presence. When Yoda opened himself fully to Qui-Gon's teachings, the galaxy felt a subtle shift. Through visions, whispers, and quiet communion, Qui-Gon guided the Grand Master toward a truth deeper than any doctrine preserved in the archives. He taught him how to release fear, how to surrender with love, and how to let identity rest within the Force without dissolving. Their lessons were not loud or dramatic. They unfolded like petals opening in moonlight, slow, gentle, inevitable. Yoda, humbled by what he learned, understood that Qui-Gon had become a pioneer in the deepest mystery of the Jedi path. And from those moonlit lessons, the legacy of immortality takes root. 82. Lessons from the netherworld. In the quiet expanse beyond physical life, Qui-Gon discovered that learning did not end with death. It simply changed shape. The netherworld of the Force was vast and shimmering, filled with currents of memory, emotion, and ancient wisdom. Qui-Gon moved through this realm not as a ghost, but as awareness itself, listening to the echoes of all living things. He learned patience on an even deeper level, for communication came slowly, filtered through the veil. But he embraced this new form of existence with calm curiosity, just as he had embraced every mystery in life. And from that boundless stillness, new insights drift toward the living world. 83. Echoes in the Dagobah Swamp. While Luke Skywalker trained with Yoda on the mist-laden world of Dagobah, Qui-Gon's presence lingered like a soft breath in the trees. Luke never saw him, never heard his voice clearly, yet the young Jedi felt subtle comfort during moments of doubt, a quiet reassurance woven through the swamp's thick humidity. Yoda, aware of the unseen guidance, often paused mid-lesson, listening to the faint whisper of his departed friend. Qui-Gon's influence was gentle, never intrusive, a reminder that no Jedi ever truly walks alone. His spirit flowed through the moss, the fog, the gentle ripples of still water. And from those hidden echoes, the Skywalker path grows steadier. 84. Watching over Anakin from afar. Even beyond death, Qui-Gon felt the thread that bound him to Anakin, a mixture of hope, sorrow, and deep compassion. He watched as the boy he once freed grew into a powerful Jedi, and later fell into darkness. Qui-Gon could not intervene directly, but he felt each shift in Anakin's heart like a distant tremor. There was no anger in him, no judgment, only sorrow, and a quiet belief that the Force still carried the possibility of redemption. He knew that light, once sparked, never truly vanished. It merely waited for the right moment to rise again. And from that distant watching, a fragile hope continues to glow. 85. Quiet joy at the return of the Jedi. When Anakin finally turned back to the light, Qui-Gon felt the shift ripple through the Force like a sunrise breaking over a long, shadowed horizon. He sensed the moment Vader became Anakin again, a trembling, fragile, luminous spark reawakening after decades of silence. There was no triumph in Qui-Gon's heart, only a gentle, overflowing joy. He had always believed in the goodness within the boy, even when darkness clouded his soul. In that final act of love, as Anakin saved his son, Qui-Gon felt the Force sigh in relief, as though a long-awaited balance had begun to restore itself. And from that quiet joy, the galaxy's wounds begin to heal. 86. His legacy through Luke. Though Qui-Gon never met Luke Skywalker in life, his teachings flowed through the young Jedi like a subtle undercurrent. Luke's compassion, his refusal to give up on those lost to darkness, and his trust in instinct over rigid doctrine echoed Qui-Gon's philosophy. Yoda, having learned from Qui-Gon's whispers across the veil, passed this gentler, more intuitive approach to Luke during training. And so, without Luke ever hearing his name, Qui-Gon's spirit shaped the boy who would reshape the galaxy. His legacy lived not in grand monuments, but in the quiet choices of kindness and trust made at pivotal moments. And from that quiet influence, the future enters a new age of hope. 87. A name, remembered in the archives. Long after his passing, Jedi historians and young learners would pause before holobooks and softly lit holograms bearing Qui-Gon Jinn's name. Though the Order sometimes saw him as a maverick, they could not deny the clarity of his insight or the depth of his compassion. Over time, his teachings, once considered unconventional, began to find new resonance among those seeking a more balanced understanding of the Force. His writings, meditations, and recorded missions were studied with reverence, revealing the quiet wisdom of a Jedi who walked gently, yet left footprints across destiny itself. And from those remembered teachings, his presence continues to echo. 88. The quiet philosopher of the Order. Among the countless Jedi who walked the halls of the temple, Qui-Gon became known as a quiet philosopher, one who sought truth not through rigid contemplation, but through the heartbeat of the present moment. Students whispered of the master who meditated in gardens instead of council chambers, who paused mid-lesson to admire a drifting leaf, who believed wisdom was a living thing, felt more than taught. Even long after his passing, his ideas breathed among those who yearned for deeper connection with the Force. They found comfort in his belief that peace was not a distant ideal, but a gentle practice renewed with every breath. And from that gentle philosophy, new seekers begin to awaken. 89. A master who walked with nature Legends say that Qui-Gon didn't merely respect the natural world. He conversed with it. He moved through forests as though he were part of their rhythm, listened to rivers as if they carried messages, and treated every creature with quiet reverence. On distant missions, young Jedi recalled him pausing beside ancient trees, eyes half closed, sensing the slow wisdom carried in their roots. To Qui-Gon, nature was a sacred teacher, offering lessons on growth, balance, and letting go. Even in worlds scarred by conflict, he sought the fragile places where life still blossomed, nurturing them like small candles in the dark. And from that communion with life, the Force felt ever closer. 90. His presence in the unseen currents. Even after his body faded into the Force, Qui-Gon's presence flowed through the galaxy like a soft current beneath still water. Sensitive Jedi sometimes felt him during meditation, a warmth, a hush, a fleeting sense of being gently guided. He did not intervene loudly or dramatically. He drifted where he was needed, offering subtle reassurance or insight like moonlight brushing across a sleeping world. In places of sorrow, his presence felt like a hand resting on a weary shoulder. In moments of decision, it felt like a quiet breath reminding one to trust. And from those unseen currents, the story drifts toward its final reflections. 91. Echoes in the Jedi Temples. Long after Qui-Gon's lifetime, the Jedi temples across the galaxy held quiet reminders of his presence. Some claim to feel a soft shift in the air when they pass certain meditation rooms, as though the stillness itself remembered him. Others, in deep contemplation, sensed a whisper of his teachings drifting through the marble corridors like distant song. Though no grand statues honored him, his philosophy left invisible imprints on the hearts of those who listened deeply. In the soft glow of temple lanterns, young Jedi could almost feel him kneeling beside them, guiding their breath toward peace. And from these subtle echoes, reverence blossoms without ceremony. 92. The Legacy of the Chosen One. Belief. Qui-Gon's unwavering belief in the Chosen One forever reshaped the course of the galaxy. Even long after the turmoil of Anakin's rise and fall, historians and Jedi scholars reflected on Qui-Gon's insight with renewed understanding. What many once dismissed as stubborn intuition came to be recognized as a rare clarity, a connection to the living force so deep that he sensed truths others overlooked. His faith in balance, in destiny, and in the potential for light within all beings became part of the Jedi's evolving philosophy. The idea that one spark could restore harmony lived on because of him. And from that enduring belief, the Force's story grows richer. 93. The balance. He always sought. Throughout his life, Qui-Gon pursued a form of balance that was gentle, nuanced, and profoundly human. He believed balance did not mean perfection, but harmony, the ability to stand in the center of chaos with a peaceful heart. He taught that light and dark existed within every being, woven together like night and dawn, and that understanding this truth was the first step toward true serenity. In many ways, the galaxy's eventual restoration echoed the very balance Qui-Gon envisioned. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of compassion. His teachings became a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can tip the scales toward harmony. And from that quiet vision, the final truths drift closer. 94. The living force endures. Qui-Gon's greatest teaching was simple yet endlessly profound. The living force is here, now, breathing in every moment. Long after his passing, Jedi who followed his path discovered that his philosophy had outlasted temples, orders, and wars. It lived in meditation circles where students practiced presence, in quiet missions where compassion carried more weight than strategy, and in gentle reminders to listen, truly listen, to the world around them. The living force, as Qui-Gon saw it, was not a distant mystery, but a companion. His legacy ensured that countless Jedi learned to trust the heartbeat of life itself, and from that enduring wisdom, serenity continues to ripple outward. 95. A guide for lost souls. Across the galaxy, there were whispers of travelers who felt comfort in moments of despair. A sudden warmth in cold rain, a calm that settled during grief, or a sense of being gently steered away from danger. Some believed these were coincidences. Others believed they were echoes of Qui-Gon Jinn reaching through the Force. Even beings who had never heard his name described the same feeling, a presence both soothing and steady, like a lantern quietly glowing in the dark. Though subtle, these moments carried the unmistakable touch of a spirit who had always guided through compassion, and from that hidden guidance, the Force feels just a little kinder. 96. The calm at the heart of chaos. Throughout history, Jedi recorded visions of Qui-Gon appearing in dreamlike flashes during times of great turmoil, not as a figure of command, but as a reminder to return to stillness. His presence, even as an echo, brought calm to minds overwhelmed by conflict. He embodied the truth that peace begins within, no matter the storm raging outside. Those who meditated on his teachings found strength not in aggression, but in grounded breath and open awareness. To many, Qui-Gon became a symbol of inner balance, the quiet eye at the center of the galaxy's spinning wheel. And from that image of serenity, our final reflections draw near. 97. The quiet rebel of the Jedi Order. Though he never sought rebellion, Qui-Gon walked a path that gently challenged the Order's most rigid assumptions. His defiance was never loud or confrontational. It was soft, steady, and deeply rooted in integrity. He believed that a Jedi's duty was not blind obedience, but truthful alignment with the Force, even when that meant standing alone. In time, many came to understand that his quiet resistance was an act of love, a desire to protect the Jedi from becoming disconnected from the living world. Qui-Gon showed that independence of thought could coexist with loyalty of heart. And from that gentle rebellion, a new understanding takes shape. 98. Gentle wisdom across the galaxy. Qui-Gon's teachings drifted far beyond the temple, carried by travelers, scholars, and former students who remembered his calm presence with fondness. Some quoted his reflections on balance. Others repeated stories of his compassion on distant worlds. Over generations, his ideas blended into the galaxy's collective wisdom. Gentle reminders to breathe, to listen, to trust the moment unfolding before one's eyes. Even those who never touched a lightsaber found comfort in his philosophy. His words lived on like lanterns in the night, illuminating paths for wanderers seeking purpose or peace. And from that lantern glow, the galaxy feels a little warmer. 99. The eternal wanderer in the Force. In the great current of the Force, Qui-Gon's presence moves like a soft breeze drifting through endless starlight. He no longer walks with footsteps or speaks with a physical voice, yet his essence roams freely, exploring, learning, guiding. Some Jedi sense him during meditation, like a familiar warmth settling over their shoulders. Others feel him in quiet moments of clarity, when intuition rises like dawn after long darkness. Qui-Gon wanders not out of restlessness, but out of love, ever curious, ever connected, ever listening to the living force he cherished in life. And from that wandering presence, we arrive gently at the final reflection. 100. The Philosopher Jedi lives on. In the quiet tapestry of the Force, Qui-Gon Jinn lingers like a gentle star whose light never fades. His teachings whisper through generations, reminders to breathe, to listen, to trust the moment unfolding softly beneath one's feet. Though his life ended on the polished floors of Naboo, his wisdom carried far beyond that single moment, shaping destinies he never lived to see. He became a guardian not bound by time, a philosopher whose presence flows through forests, temples, and the hearts of those who seek balance. To remember Qui-Gon is to remember the stillness within ourselves, the place where clarity rises, where compassion begins, where the Force hums quietly like a lullaby beneath the stars. And from that lullaby, peace settles over the galaxy once more. And as our long drift through the galaxy comes to rest, may the Force bring balance to your mind and peace to your dreams. We've walked beside Qui-Gon Jinn, a gentle rebel, a patient teacher, a soul who listened so closely that even the quietest whisper of the Force became his compass. If these stories helped you drift into the stars tonight, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share which corner of the galaxy you'd love to fall asleep to next. When you're ready to keep dreaming, tap the end screen to wander into another bedtime voyage, another night beneath twin suns, or drifting through moonlit hyperspace. Rest well, traveler. The Force is with you, always.